Welcome everybody to Devlog number 2. So this week we made quite a bit of changes to the game. We worked on a couple of things, and with that, let's dive right in. First things first, we made changes to the scenery. We got rid of the blue room and made it look more like a squash court. So here you can sort of see what this new room is going to look like. Slightly brighter lighting, white walls, and a nice wooden texture on the floor. This really gets you into the whole mood of like playing squash. After we released last week's devlog, one of my brother's friends, Lazy Zen, really enjoyed it. He's a game developer himself. He made us a small particle system to use in our game, and this is what it currently looks like. Here you can see me moving around. There's a small trail render on the ball, and when you play the animation, that's what it looks like. So what we want to do is when the ball bounces or when the ball moves, we want to see these kind of effects come in. Then our next change was we wanted to show a little bit of game progression in the game. So for that we built a small scoring system, and we wanted it to be something that, like when you're in VR, you could sort of look at your hand and there would be like this little score tablet that would show you how well you're currently doing. Just to sort of see what it would look like, and it's looking pretty nice right now. You have a score counter, and the way it works is that when you hit the ball and you hit the front wall, it would increment the score. So, and at the same time, you can sort of see what the ball also looks like with the new particle system. It looks really nice. It really gives you an idea of where the ball's going, and sort of judge how it's working. And let's say if you're in one corner of the room, you could sort of see if the ball has touched any of the walls or not. So there were some issues with how we were gonna track score. There were a lot of corner cases that we had to work on. It was a lot of fun. There's just I guess that's the biggest part of coding, just debugging different pieces, trying it out, and just trying it over and over again. One big thing that we realized was that when you have, if the ball would, let's say if you hit the ball at the wall, it would bounce, and you do not hit it on the second round, so it basically bounces on the wall to your back and then touches the wall in the front again, it would trigger that as a score. So we had to put a little bit of if statements in there just to make sure that we take care of these small cases. And with that, we also wanted to add a little bit of color to the game. And over here you can sort of see my brother testing out what that looks like. He's basically holding the ball, throwing it at the wall, see if the score works, and then sort of just mashing it at the wall and see if it sort of increments the score fast or not. Just a good way of testing it in VR. Testing in VR is literally you have to do it manually, and at the same time you can also see we started playing around with a bit of color just to sort of see what that would look like. We started adding color to particle effects and started adding color to the trails, just to give it a little bit more flair when we're playing the game. And that's essentially the last thing that we did. Once we got a lot of these bugs sort of fixed up, what we did was we fixed on giving the game a really nice look. We started with having the trails work in a way where if it hits the bat, the trails are blue in color, and when it hits the wall, it gets turned back to red. This sort of gives the player an idea of if he's supposed to hit the ball, or is the ball supposed to hit the wall at that time. Explaining the rules without text. All of these changes that we made this week would probably amount to around 30 lines of code. Now, one thing that I am noticing is that in Unity, the only time when it comes to writing code is when, let's say, a collision happens. You have to apply a certain rule to that collision. So that's essentially that's one main reason for writing code in Unity. And the second is passing variables along. So in our game example, the ball holds information on who has hit it last, and when it hits the wall would know, okay, all right, it was the player that hit the ball. So it's these are sort of things passing variables along or holding variables for certain things. That's essentially where coding comes into Unity. It is a very simple system to learn. It is a very simple game engine. You need to, for people who are coming into this with a lot of programming experience, one thing I can say is you need to sort of put that to the side and just understand how game objects work, and only bring in code when you know you're stuck. And you've done all of your dragging and dropping of different game objects, you've done your physics applications and everything, that's when you bring in code. So it's time for a demo of what we've been up to this whole week. Enjoy.